We've got audio and video. Let us begin. Perfect. Shabbat Shalom, my most esteemed friends, honorable judges, LVE tribe, as well as everyone listening. On this rather precious, radiant, heated summer day of Shabbat from California, the US of A. Today is the 21st day of the fourth month known as Tammuz of the year 5993 from creation, corresponding with the 27th day of July of the year 2024. July is on its way out, last Shabbat of July. And we shall study yet another chapter of Wisdom and Discipline, or Chokhmah and Musar, part 27. Can we change the apocalypse, part 10? Of course, we've talked about many things. This is a school, what we call, in parentheses, or with a different name, the School of Mashiach, because we are learning how to act in life, how to think, how to judge situations, how to evaluate certain things, how to always choose what's positive, what's good, what's just, and eliminate everything that might be, although it may be inherited of our fathers, of the culture, of many things, or of our own thinking, how to get out of situations that are rather not convenient. Can we change the apocalypse? Of course not. The apocalypse is written. The apocalypse will be fulfilled, but not in the way in which the people think, because apocalypse is a book that's absolutely highly symbolic. So then the true fulfillment of the apocalypse is really in an occult manner, because the scripture is in an occult manner. Let us begin with a word of prayer. Our Father that art in heaven, we give you thanks for this so precious day of Shabbat. We give you thanks because we are living in this last stretch of your creation. On the sixth day, at the end of the sixth day, we are about to enter into the Shabbat. We know that some years are still left, but we still know that you can shorten that because it is already time, it is the hour to enter into the rest. We give you thanks for everything you give us. I ask you that you are with every one of your children, with every one of humanity, and that very soon we may be able to see the change, the following phase of your creation. We thank you for all this in your precious name, Yahweh Sabaoth. Alleluia. All things coincide so that at some point in time very near, we don't know when, we always wish for it to be now, we wish for it to be this year, but in some near time we go into the next phase of creation. It's all creation, and the following part of the creation, it is the rest of Yahweh. Yahweh enters into rest, like the scripture says. Yahweh rested. Why will Yahweh rest? Because Yahweh can rest on the sixth day, because precisely the one that will have to work is the Mashiach. So then Yahweh says, now you enter into action in this part, and when I talk about you, it's a symbol. You enter into action to do away with or continue with the work of creation. The work of creation really is redemption, and it is what we're waiting for. We know that the wait is difficult for everyone. Any wait is difficult, but we have to be patient. Very well. I'd like to congratulate the birthday people of this week, which are the following: Diana Marcela Sanchez, Colombia; Alexander Fabian Hernandez, Mexico; Cristina Imamura, Japan; Jose Yepes, Venezuela; Josefina Marcos León, Mexico; Martín Retambay, Argentina; Isabela Rodriguez Hernandez, Colombia; Jesus David Ortiz, Colombia. For each and every one of you, a great big hug on behalf of all of us, and it may be your very last birthday. It is our wish under the government of Babylon. Last greetings. We don't know whether you're still with us, but either way, we greet you. And if you report yourself, you stay on the list. And if not, then not. It is for Oniel Martinez Hernandez, the Dominican Republic. And for Brian Steven Hernandez Andrade. For both of you, a very happy birthday that you've had this week. We don't know if you're still listening to us. If you do, then let us know. Very well. I'd like to present the following presents to you because obviously we are living our very last week with 54 years of age. Both Leslie and I, we're going to enter into the 55th. Leslie on Friday, the 2nd of August, and I next Shabbat precisely. It'll be a Shabbat and it'll be my birthday. So then we already started to receive some gifts of those that like to send stuff. This is from Luis and Scholl. In other words, Marisol. Well, Scholl, we call her Scholl, Luis and Scholl, on behalf of from Chile, Carrillo Exmon, from Chile, and I believe that we've got a gift in conjunction. They gave us this precious knife for the kitchen. Spectacular. I haven't opened it yet. But it is very good. Very good. It's very, very good. It is excellent for dicing and doing anything in the kitchen. Things that it could be both meat or vegetables. Spectacular. Many, many things. It comes with an envelope that is leather. So then this is spectacular. The Miranda's husk from Japan, and also these precious flowers that are placed outside, and they're solar because they are charged with a solar plate out there, and then at night they illuminate, so then they are precious. These sunflowers, spectacular. Many, many thanks to illuminate the garden of Eden, although the garden already means Eden, to illuminate Eden. Many thanks, Luis and Scholl. And also, I've got another little gift here that I'd like to present. This one is from... Whose is this from? From Nila. This comes from London. It is for, I believe that they are gifts for Brian and Angelina. I'll present them to you. This is a medium size that goes in one arm for me. One for Angelina, one for Brian, one for Leslie, and one for the Doberman. I'm sure this is large. This is large. And this is, of course, this is for Brian, a medium for Angelina, a medium for Leslie, and this is for me. Oh, yes, there was one. And I tried to not look at them and present them in public. Extra, extra large. This is my size. Many thanks, Nila. They're precious. They also sent us chocolates, another type of little biscuits and chocolates, and also some candy, and also some biscuits that we already know, which are delicious, and some jewels. Are they here? Oh, and the little heart. Okay. So then, yes. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of cards that says happy birthday, congratulations, little stars. It says, oh, this must be for Angelina. It is, I believe that this is some earrings, a little chain. I can't show it, but you wouldn't be able to see it either way. It says Christian. It is a chain with a lion. This one's bigger. I can show this. Wow, how beautiful is this? Precious. These are going to be, the stars going to be all over my head. Precious chain. Wow, precious. So precious, the chain with the lion. Precious. This is mine. What else do we have here? We've got one from Leslie. These are earrings. These are earrings. And Also, a necklace, a pendant with this, or fuchsia. I don't know what it's called. Violet with a little brown, kind of like that. Precious. It may seem to be silver. I cannot assure you because I didn't see it all that well, but apparently it is, for sure, it is silver. Spectacular. Many thanks. The name of the four, name of all of us, on behalf of all of us, many, many thanks. Let me get the little biscuits here. And also the shirts. Very well. Many thanks for your presence. Very well. The world cannot escape the book of Revelation, and that is true. What will be, they will escape from is the interpretation they give them, which is they think it's all destruction, death, blood, even up to the mouths of the horses in the lake of fire, eternal death, eternal suffering, and all those types of things. But that the world cannot escape the book of Apocalypse. It is true. The world will be a part of the book of the Apocalypse, but very well interpreted. Very well. I'd like to invite each and every one of you, some of you that have some sort of problem, emotional, physical, well, let's call it that way, some sort of conflict. We've got a free service. That service, it is Angelina's Consult. Free. Anyone can write to her, who is in the description of this video, and she will make you a consult, which is free. One or more, whichever you need. It's not that it's one free and then the others are charges. They're all free. And we thank each and every one of you that have donated and you want to donate for this service that we provide as the Eternal Truth. I'm getting little stars here. There's all kinds of things that are flashy here. So then, all those of you who belong to the Eternal Truth and that you don't belong to the Eternal Truth either way, it is a service for each and every one of you. It is a practice for what the world will receive within a little bit when Yahweh starts to actually fulfill the book of Apocalypse. Very well. This will be the very last Shabbat of July, but not the one of Tammuz. We've got one more of Tammuz that will coincide with my birthday this year, which will be the 28th. The 28th of Tammuz, next Shabbat, or the 3rd of August. This year, our birthday turned out to be on Tammuz, generally, or sometimes it's on Av. So then we're give or take in those months when we have birthdays with Leslie between Tammuz and the 4th and the 5th. And when we were born, I don't know. I'd have to calculate and everything. I don't want to do that, nor do I care. Okay, very well. Shemah Israel, YHWH Eloheinu, YHWH Ekhad. That is the center. It is the key. It is the base. It is the fundamental stone to understand this book. This book can be understood only by understanding that phrase, starting. From there, starting. That the Elohim creator is only one being. It's not two or three. There weren't two talking. There weren't three. The word let us make in our image, let us descend, and everything, all that the Trinitarians used to see. You see there's more than one. This demonstrates there are three. No, it doesn't demonstrate absolutely anything. It demonstrates that there is a being that has a duality like we do, and that he tried to conceal the scripture, and he made it be written that way. It is due to the reason that he wanted for no one to understand the truth, and that is the truth. If Elohim, Yahweh, would have cared, or it was in his plans for the whole world to understand the truth, and not any interpretation out there, but the truth actually, he would not have done a book that is concealed, but an open book. A book that it's easy to understand, that is not lend itself to discussion, a clear book without any contradiction, a book without symbols, a book without parables, and would have allowed everything absolutely clear. The, the, the question is, could Yahweh have done that? Of course he could. Why the confusion is so great? Because he concealed not part of his message, but the whole message. So then it is a book that is encrypted. It's not that one understands one thing and the other part he can access it. No, no one understands a thing. And from the very minimum, from the very beginning, it starts off with a plurality, which the Jews understand it clearly as a plural. I can't remember what they call it. Majestic. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's a plural of something majestically great. Can't remember what they call the term. I've explained that many times ago, many years ago, the plural, the majestic plural, something like that, which is that when something is very, very majestic, you speak in plural to demonstrate multiple virtues and greatness. That is its explanation, which I believe that it was great, perfect. Maybe it is the symbol, but actually we understand that in Yahweh there is a duality that is marked. First of all, Yahweh's sex is not defined in Scripture clearly. The whole world believes that he is a man, but if he's a man, then the women were not made in the image of that man. Because if there isn't a woman in him, where did the woman come from? That is why Paul erroneously says that the man, the male, the macho, was in the image of God, and the woman was made in the image of man. That's a lie, misinterpreted, and I could care less about Paul's errors. Majestic. Exactly. It is a majestic plural. That is what, and did they give you the definition also? But did they write down what it means? No. Majestic. Majestic. Let us look it up. Majestic. Majestic. Let us write down. I don't know how it is written, rather. Oh, with a Y? I thought it was with a J. Whatever. I mean, it's a word that I don't use every day. That I don't use every day. Can't find it. Well, either way, let's go to Wikipedia. What does Wikipedia say? It says, oh yes, I found it. In the written tongue or spoken, the plural majestic of lutum pluralis majestaticus consists in referring to oneself or ourselves or oneselves. I speak to you, or using the first person of the plural and also the pronoun us. In substitution of I, it has been extant in the ancient Rome, and it has been preserved in many countries as a formal expression, especially the kings and popes. Hence the name majestic, that has to do with all things majesty, by those who have used this expressive modality. Inasmuch that it is linked with the image of the institution, it has also been used in the Ottoman or English monarchies. Its most common use is to give excellence or dignity and power of the person that speaks or writes. Initially, all medieval monarchs would write their documents in the first singular form, I, Alfonso, King, etc. During the latter part of the 12th century, every time they became more frequent, the correspondences and the documents in which the king would express himself in plural. We have decided, and it was only the king who decided, which is esteemed that it could have served as the imitation of the style of the high hierarchs of the church, because the popes would use the plural form, the majestic plural form. So then you already know exactly what it means. So then, it is a test. Is it a test that more than one divine being exists present in creation, because it says, let us make men in our image. Is that a proof? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. If there were other informations in the scripture which would make it be known in many places where there are two, when we made man, one of us descended and all the rest, and there were no any contradictory mention saying, I am the only him that exists, you shall have no other God beside me, like he clearly says in the declaration of the Ten Commandments, which says, I am the Elohim that took you out of the land of slavery in Egypt. You shall have no other God beside me. It's already not speaking in a majestic plural or any of the sort. He's clearly saying you will not know any other God. You will not have any other God. So then, I cannot. It would be absolutely, and that is why the Bible is written this way, to confuse everyone. I cannot decide, okay, I'm going to trust in what it says, let us make men, and I'll discard all the rest. Because there's a whole quantity of texts that says, Yahweh, I am the God of Israel. You will not know any other God. Isaiah is filled with it. You will not know any other God. I am your Savior, and you will not know any other Savior. And with that, it contradicts completely the let us make men in our image. So then, now that the Bible is contradictory in certain things, absolutely. Because of the cover that it's got, it's part of the cover. That's why it's contradictory. I've got a part and I say it's this way. I don't give importance to that part. I take another part and I say it is this way. And so then everyone takes what they want, but doesn't mean that it's the truth. The only truth that exists is that there is no other God, because in the declaration, it is a lot stronger than to say that there's no other God, that no other God exists, that there's no other being, that no other being, divine being exists aside from him, and that we're not going to know any other divine being aside from him. That declaration is absolutely unquestionable. When we are in a declaration that is absolute and that cannot be questioned, we find a declaration that says, let us make men in our image. And of course, which of the two weighs more? The one that speaks a lot more times, and the one that is emphatic. The one that is emphatic. When it's emphatic, when it says that there isn't, does not exist, you will not know any other God. Shemah Israel, hear, O Israel, Yahweh. Your God, Yahweh, is one, with the number one, which is one. It's not two or three, it's one. So then, the other one, I understand it. I have to understand it differently. What is it saying? It's saying a plural that's majestic, or is it saying what I'm explaining, that there's a duality in God, which is a lot more complex. A duality in God, like the duality that is in us. The duality of my subconscious and conscious, it would seem to be two different people. My conscious knows perfectly everything. My subconscious knows where I left things, records everything as if it were a video machine that's perfect, that sees everything, feels everything, keeps the orders, keeps absolutely everything. That is why you have allergies and all the rest. When there is a conflict in the presence of things that are visible, or smells, or sensations, or particles that are determined in what's produced, the brain saves all that, and when a situation is produced like that, or that is like that, a situation of music, an odor, a touch, a product in the air, immediately it triggers an action which we call allergies, which actually it awakens what we call in Germanic medicines, it is a rail, and that rail causes you to once again have a conflict, to relive it, that has nothing to do, absolutely nothing to do with the conflict that you lived. But aside from the situation that was a very difficult situation for your subconscious, and it recorded it so precisely, in the moment in which something shocking happened for your mind, there was a perfume, a smell in the air, a presence, there was something, or you were eating something, and the next time that you eat, or you smell, or you feel something which happened during that shock, the brain subconscious, which is not you consciously, makes you relive the conflict. And that is what we call the effect of the rails, or medically known as allergies, all types of things. It is an internal reaction. It is another being that I haven't said. Sometimes I feel yes, because he laughs at me. I want to remember something. I want to remember something. Like, for example, the other day with Leslie, we were talking about the Doberman dogs of some friends that we had many years ago, and we would remember the name of the male, but we would not remember the female's name. And we were thinking, what was the name? But can't remember. Well, some time happened, some week passed, and I was sleeping placidly in my dream. A lit up sign comes down. Yes, I mean, I don't even know why. I want to beat up my subconscious. He laughs at me. A lit up sign comes down, and one letter is illuminated, which says, wait, hold on. Yes, a T appears. And I'm looking in the dream, it looks like a T. Wow. And then afterwards, it's illuminated. The second letter, an I appears. And up until the time, I have no idea what I'm seeing in the dream vividly. That is what make me wake up. And I'm still looking at the sign in the air, majestic air. And an N shows up. Tin. I was like, tin? I don't even know what that means. And in the dream, I'm still looking, and an A appears. And I read, Tina. Tina. And I start to think, Tina. 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 And I wake up. And I said, Tina was the name of the female dog that we had. Of course, what did my subconscious mind had played with me? Look, I'll make a movie for you. You like those types of scenes? I'll make it very fun for you. Now, does my subconscious know everything? It knows everything since I was born, saw everything, experienced everything, regulates things that I don't even have an idea what they are, and fights with me on a permanent basis. So then, is the duality so marked? Absolutely marked. Every time you lose your keys, you already know. Your other you knows. And he knows where they are. And he laughs at you. He laughs at you because he has them there like a video. Doesn't tell you. Won't tell you. No, I'm not going to continue to look for them like an idiot. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I remembered. That's when the other you have said, he found you worthy to tell you. Okay, here you go. And you're like, oh, I just remembered that. Remembered it's your subconscious laughing at you. So then we are a duality. We could perfectly say we, us two, us two, us two. Or else, think about all the temptations that you've had about eating or not, and you consciously don't want to eat, but you're so hungry. The other one is bothering you. Makes you segregate the juices in your stomach, make you feel bad. You don't want to eat. I'm going to get a headache. You're like, I have a headache because I'm so hungry. You consciously would say, you could say, hey, I don't want to eat. I decide not to be hungry. No. It is not your decision not to be hungry. The other one that is behind you says you are going to eat. And with that, all the other considered things that are sin that humans know are there. You're kicked back, and then behind you, you're like, oh, the devil is talking. No, it's not the devil, it's your other you that is bothering you, and it's a duality, so then we're talking together. Very well. My other me knows everything that I've said. I can't remember what I said yesterday, but the other one laughs at me. Maybe if I quote something, he'll show me as a sign too. Just laugh at me. Very well. Anyway, Yahweh is more than that even, because Yahweh is a man and a woman, or else where did the women come from? Yahweh is a man and a woman. Exactly. So then, when Yahweh says, let us make man, I like the majestic, but I know that there's a lot more than that there. Very well. So then, having understood the Shemah, we start to understand the principle of the Bible, that there's only one God. Once that is processed, really, that's why there's people, I just can't understand. Tell the truth, I can't understand. I was reading comments. Sometimes, just because I'm curious, might be the other one. It's the other guy's got fault. Sometimes I read comments. I was reading comments of people that have left from here to listen to that Christian that is waiting for the rapture. And I just cannot understand that those people write that they have lived throughout many Shabbats in the eternal truth and have listened to the message of the eternal truth, that even have the rings of LVE to write it to him, we're waiting for Christ with you. We're out of here. And just in case, since I recorded the name of Yeshua, and then they say Yeshua, we're waiting for him and we go with you, Christian. We're waiting. So where the fuck are you going? Let me ask you, how much did you understand of the base? In fact, if they hadn't left, they'd be in the same thing, because they would still have not understood. If any mentally challenged person like that guy, because you have to be, I just can't even categorize people, but oh well, either way. But for somebody, the eternal truth, somebody of you that have listened for hours to my message, that you decide to believe that there is a Christ Jesus in heaven that comes to look for you or rapture you, it is rather something that goes way past that my brain cells can understand that position. That would praise him, they said, what a brilliant mind, wow. And now that brilliant mind is the other guys. What's going to happen? Because nothing's going to absolutely happen in September. Absolutely nothing will happen with the rapture. I mean, anything else could happen, but as in regards to rapture, nothing. What's going to happen to those people? Are they going to come back to listen to this brilliant mind? Or are they going to continue looking for another? I mean, if they start to listen to this again, what should we do with those type of people that had not understood before, and we thought they had, and they left, and now they want to return because it didn't happen? Those are difficult things, right? I mean, they're free to listen. I mean, either way, I just can't understand the human mind sometimes. Oh, yeah, this man, that Uruguayan, God talks to him every day. The only one. This week he gave a message. He gave a message that says, God showed me the death of the people that don't believe in my message. Wow. Absolutely, wow. Made me remember Ellen G. White. Now God has shown him the death of those that, because of not believing in him, believing on his date. Incredible. I mean, we've been past that complete stupidity already. Completely. And we've thrown everything into the garbage can. So then, the fundamental principle of the scriptures to understand YHWH. And why do I waste time with this? Because maybe I should have wasted even more time, because I don't know how many of you that are listening to me here, and we'll see how many are here today. Let's see if you give us a like even. We are at this time 201 people, and there's 193 likes. How many of you 201 multiplied by the group of the lineage that is listening with you, because maybe there's a person listening and there's someone connected and 5 or 6 people listening. All of you that are listening, how many of you actually understand factitiously and would sustain with your life under penalty of death that there's only one God? That there's only one God. For you to say, do you believe that there's only one God? That belief you're going to die immediately. How many of you would go past that test? See, I know it's a stupid test, but either way, to be sure that whether you believed or not, just a test like that. But how many of you would really actually believe that it's only one divine being? And maybe you don't even keep in some part of your other ego or your conscious or subconscious some sort of special love for a Christ Jesus that forgave your sins on the cross and left, resurrected, and they are in heaven, and at some point in time the Father will send them. And you listen to me and you accept everything, but in your heart you feel that there could be another being. There could be, I could be wrong, and that Jesus is the Son of God, or else just a role, but it's another divine being, and that it's two. or that it's 3 maybe, or 1,000. Either way, same thing. For them to be 2 or 1,000, same thing. But that there's another. Is that in your heart? Because if that's in your heart, sooner or later you'll leave. With a Christian, a Pepito, with whatever, but you'll leave. Or alone, but you'll leave. Because you have to have absolute convincement that the God creator that we worship is one. It is only one being. Indivisible. Only one being. And if he wants to say, let us make, and he's alone, that's fine. If he says, in our image, that's perfect. He's still one being, only one being. And if there's only one being, this advances. If there's only one being, then all of the gospel preached by the apostles is fake. All of it. Because I don't have to interpret the apostles. The apostles would not speak in parables. They didn't even have the capacity of speaking in parables. They did not speak in parables. So then the apostle Paul, and everything that he taught, that in certain things he helped us completely to grow, it is another stepping stone, but his preaching of saying Christ Jesus for us, yet there's only one God the Father, of which proceed all things, and only one Lord Jesus Christ, through which we all things are sanctified. That is absolutely false. Of course, if I say no, I'll interpret it in a different way, that Lord Jesus Christ is the Mashiach that was going to come. Paul was not speaking about the Mashiach that was going to come after 2,000 years. I could say it that way. I could make Paul say whatever, but he's not here to defend himself, obviously. And of course, and I can say, and I can interpret Paul in a way that he didn't want to say. Paul, at that point in time, he's saying of the Mashiach that is with Jesus in heaven. That is what he's saying. Because he showed up to the Mashiach. And not this group that showed up, nor any other person or anything. No, of course not. Of course not. So then for him, Jesus appeared unto him. And who appeared unto Paul? Yahweh. The only one that could appear unto him, or an angel, to end up deceiving him, because maybe Yahweh is trying to do something else. And I'm going to tell him, if I tell him that I'm Yahweh, then this will be screwed up. I mean, leave him blind either way, because he's so obtuse. Because Yahweh does things according to his creation. And we needed Paul. Why did we need him? He's fundamental, Paul is. Because he doesn't come to teach a gospel, which he did teach, but it's not a true gospel. It's not what we care about, Paul. Paul came to make us see that the law was no longer. So then, in that aspect, Paul got a resounding 10. The message of Paul is against the law, against the Judaic system that all the apostles were following and continue to practice. Precisely against that is the message of Paul. Since not even he believed it himself, tell you the truth, is what I think about Paul. He himself went to the temple to do purification rites. I mean, right there we have a person that Yahweh sends with a message, but he doesn't really believe it. He doesn't really believe it. Because if he believed it enough, he would have had a lot adversity, I don't know if that word is correct, a lot of anger to go into the temple when his supposed Lord said that temple is a house that is left desolate. It is left empty, and never again will you see me again until you say, blessed is he that cometh in the name of Yahweh. So then Paul, trying to convince his Jewish brethren, went to do Jewish rites, went to purify himself, and purify himself because the disciples sent him there. Because he had a great idea, Peter and Jacob, of saying, you have to go to the temple to purify yourself, Paul. Because they stayed in the Judaism still. The ritual Judaism that doesn't take you anywhere. They were still in that. They didn't have the least idea what was going on. But Yahweh didn't care. It was the plan, because he said, lie, lie, and something will be left. Because he said, I'm going to deceive everyone. Everyone I'll deceive. How many people will you deceive? Everyone, every last one of them. He says so. He says so. He clearly says so. But that is clear. It's just that they don't want to see it. He told Isaiah, I want for you to make this people blind. I want you to make these people deaf. And I want you to harden their heart. What does that mean? To deceive them. Deceive them. Deceive them in any way possible. About everything. So then everything that Isaiah says, if I don't pay attention, it's a deceit. Everything that the prophets say in Isaiah is a symbol. That is the entire Bible, a deceit. Because that's what Yahweh wants, because Yahweh wants it that way. Unless you have the key, unless you have the spirit that Yahweh gives to understand what is written, the rest is a deceit. So then that's why the apostles were deceived. That's why Paul was deceived. And that is why, for that very reason, did we get to this height. And people like Christian, the Uruguayan, saying that a secret rapture will come from a certain Christ. The Christ does not exist no longer. That Christ represents the red heifer. The red heifer would be burned, and its ashes would serve for purification. The ashes of the Christ of 2,000 years ago are for the cleansing of the condemnation of the law. That is the symbol of the red heifer, but the red heifer would not resurrect or ever again be seen, because it's just a symbol. So then, if we don't understand Shema Israel, YHWH Eloheinu, YHWH Ekhad, you will continue on the path of those that leave. When you root this message and root it to your heart, you see that Yahweh says, here I send Messiah, and he came 2,000 years ago, a person that says that he's the Son of God. There are two paths. Just like the Jews to say this is false, this is not the Messiah, and they were right. Never again I thought to say this, and the Jews were right. That Jesus, Yeshua, is not the Messiah. That Jesus is the Christian Jesus, the Christ. It is not the Messiah. In that they were right. But in what they were not right is that it was not about it not just being the Messiah only, it was Elohim. And right there, they don't have the least idea, and they denied him. And the Christians don't understand that part. They accept that it's the Messiah, but then accept that it's the only God. So then they're all wrong, and you say, why do I live here on this earth of confusion? It would seem to be like that song of the Genesis band, spectacular, that I love, the Land of Confusion song, which says, we live in a land of confusion. Absolutely genius, that song of, this is a land of confusion. The Christians say to follow a Messiah that was not the Messiah, which is God. And they still are stuck on that he was the Messiah, and he was not. Is God the only one there is? And the Messiah does not return from heaven. The Messiah is here on earth. The Jews don't understand that it's God, but they understood well that the one that came was not the Messiah. He could not be, because he didn't fulfill anything of the Messiah said that he had to do in the scriptures. You're completely right, completely right. But they also didn't know how to identify that it was Yahweh. It would have blown their mind if he would have told them that he was Yahweh. Did the disciples understand it? They also didn't understand this ever. Show us the Father, and it's enough for us. With you, it's not enough. We want to see the Father. We want to see the true God. Because you, I mean, they didn't even know who he was. When they asked Peter, whom do they say that I am? Well, some say that it's Elijah or one of the prophets, the one that was to come, unanointed. Peter, trying to be funny, is like, you are the Son of the living God. Even worse. And Yahweh, who was represented in that Yeshua says, that was not revealed to you by human flesh. Of course not, because no human flesh has ever revealed that. in the Bible, it doesn't exist that God has a son in heaven. So then Yahweh tells him, that was not revealed to you, no biblical prophet. No human flesh revealed that to you. It was revealed to you, my Father who is in heaven. He let him follow with the lie, his own lie. He left him in the same symphony of lies. There is where you see the level of deceit that Yahweh wanted for men to have. It is very clear. It is very clear. He said, that was revealed to you by my Father who's in heaven. Wow. He didn't have a Father who was in heaven. He was there. And that revelation was part of the deceit. And thanks to that, Christianity still has that same deceit, and they're waiting for a son, a Jesus, someone that, I don't know, it's a romantic scene of that Christ who died in the cross and that now comes to look for them, forgiving their sins because they accepted him, and the salvation by grace and the salvation by faith, and all that religious romanticism, and that the rest will be lost in a lake of fire, does not exist. This is creation, gentlemen. There's only one Elohim, and there was only one person that would understand the scriptures. That person was prophesied in Malachi. John 8:31 through 32. So then everyone that does not understand what I say, I invite you to say, I suggested Christian. I don't know whom to suggest to you now, because they left to look for a video that I suggested. I'm going to start to look for religious pastors to see if some of you that are doubting, that don't understand anything, you leave with them. You get hooked on them and leave. I'm going to start to suggest ministers. There's one in El Salvador that's called Lost Paths or something like that. What was it? I can't remember. Something like that. No, I'm being ironic. What's the name? The shitty paths must be pronounced something like that. They're very shitty paths, and we have Pharmacia Palacios, and those that want to leave. And you know, they have left. I named this Catholic one, and some guy said, I'm going off to Catholicism. You reminded me of Mass, and I think that's what you buy. So then I'm offering whomever, what do you want? But here, the only ones that I want to stay here is those that understand there's only one God, only one being, indivisible. That is not the Messiah. That the Messiah is not in heaven, that the Messiah is here on earth. And if the Messiah will rapture you, it is because it'll be something very human, in a rapture, and he cannot rapture the whole world at the same time. So then, that was ironic. The Messiah is not in heaven, the Messiah is on earth, and the Messiah is human. So then, if someone wants to leave, go ahead and leave now. You're gonna have to take out. Do you think that it's two? Here, you have options here. You think that it's three? Here's an option. You think that the law is still valid? Here's another group. We send them elsewhere. I find that to be okay. You believe in dreams and visions? There's many of those. Many of those. I believe in dreams and visions because one dream brought me the name of a dog that it had been 20 years that I had not called out. 20 years. 25 years that I had not seen that dog, that of course they're completely dead, but 25 years without mentioning that dog, a friend that I don't even know where they live. Wow, how my brain had it here, mind you. My brain had it there. So then, yes, of course I believe in dreams. I do believe them because it gave me an exact answer, and it wasn't God, it was my other me. Very well. John 8:31 through 32. Then Yeshua said unto the Jews that had believed on him, if ye were to remain in my words, then you shall truly be my disciples indeed, and ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Those that did not know it, but someday they will. Proverbs 25:2. It is the glory of Elohim to conceal, to cover, to encrypt the word. Yet honor of the king, or the glory of the king, is to search out, to uncover and understand the word. And who is that king? It is the King Mashiach. Jeremiah 16:19 through 21. Paul and the disciples, the apostles, Jonas, they're all going to say that Yahweh, my strength and my fortress in the day of tribulation. Unto thee shall come the peoples, all of them, the Jews, the Christians, and pagans, from the ends of the earth, from the beginning of creation, and shall say, only lies was the inheritance of our fathers, vanity to which there is no avail. According to what? About God. If it is man that makes himself gods, how does he make some gods? By reading and misinterpreting the scriptures. Here it says, let us make. They should be more than one. And then he says that God in his Holy Spirit. Okay, in the bad translations, okay, then it's two, and then almost three. And then they read the whole New Testament, then they are three. They are three then. Only lies was the inheritance of our fathers. About what? About God. If it is man that makes himself the gods, if it is man that makes himself Elohims, doesn't say gods, Elohim. If it is God that makes himself Elohim, then they're not Elohim. Of course not. So then, behold, I will make it be known unto them this time, in this part of the creation through the Mashiach ye shall know. This time I shall show them the strength of mine, not our, mine arm. And ye shall know that mine, not our, name is Yahweh. Yahweh, because the way it is pronounced, I could care less in the very least. I don't even make the effort to know if I wanted. If he wanted for us to know, then let him come tell us, or else we'll pronounce it however the fuck we want. That's the way I said it. We say it however the fuck we want. Why? Because he didn't tell us how to pronounce it. So then what do we get to what conclusion? Something very clear, I'll tell you. He lied to us even in that. His name is not Yahweh. His name is not Yahweh. Look, he's not going to give us his real name. What do you think? Imagine that. Of course not. Of course not. In fact, Yahweh, YHWH, whatever it means, give or take, is I am that I am. I'll tell you what it means. YHWH. I, man, woman, man. I don't know. Just imagine whatever you want. I'm not going to tell you, he says. Whatever you want. I'd have to be crazy to give you my name. I am that I am. Someday I'll let you know. So then the people that say, we have to pronounce Yahweh, Yahweh, Yohwa, Yahweh. No, we have to pronounce it. There are some names that I can't even remember how the fuck they pronounce. And the Jews say, look, we're not going to get into, we just say Hashem and that's it. They're almost right. The name. They're not pronouncing it. Let's not mention it. The unmentionable, he's unmentionable. Why? Because it's difficult to mention him. No, he didn't give us the name. He didn't give us the name. He gave us 4 consonants that we know how the fuck to pronounce. And I know now it is not the name of Yahweh. It's not. He's going to tell us what his name is later. It's as simple as that. It's not. I no longer believe that Yahweh is the name of him. No, he's Elohim. Do I mention him Yahweh? Well, that's the name that he gave us. That's it. I use the name he gave us. It must be a nickname. There's a reason why we like nicknames so much, so then this is just a nickname. Very well. Doesn't matter how we pronounce it, Jehovah, Yahweh, whatever. Only one name, only one being. All the peoples will come and say, only lies was the belief about the Elohim. We believed in only lies, nothing but lies. Vanity, stupidity that has no avail. That is what they will say. Now, we understand that we created our own God in the way that we wanted. And we started to choose. I choose this religion. The Trinitarians produce. I choose this religion. They present a Unitarian God that's different. I see this one. They present whatever else. Nothing is true. Absolutely nothing is true. But that time, Yahweh will show who he is in the strength of his arm is the Messiah. Every time that he says or talks about his right arm, that's the Messiah. Because it's what he uses. You can see that Yahweh is right-handed and not left-handed. According to the things that I understand in the scriptures, Yahweh is not right-handed. No, I mean, he's not left-handed but right-handed. Or else he would express, unless it was a way in the language in Hebrew that cannot be surpassed. But every time he says that something is correct, the strength of my arm, my right arm, I have you with my right arm, why not in the left arm? No, because my right arm is stronger. That is why I hold you on the side of my power. I can see that he's left-handed, that he doesn't even have laterality. One, the man, and the other one is the woman that is within. So the one is left-handed, it was right-handed. I don't know. I'm just talking stupid shit. And I'll continue to say stupid shit until Yahweh says, no, it's like this. Okay. You should have left things more clear. But what is clear, I did declare it. It's only one being. Do I waste time with this? I'll do it every Shabbat. If it gets boring, then there's the door. Malachi 2:17, and today I have a group. I have a whole band here. I have Eddie with the heart in his hand. I have my heart in my hand. Eddie, he says, what's going on? When are you going to fix it? When are you going to fix it? This one is from 7 sons of a 7th son. The 7th son of a 7th son. Spectacular. We have a junior octopus. He might be a bit upset, but not too much, give or take. Very well. And we've got. This is Captain Marvel. Marvel Captain? Is that what it is? Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel. In Spanish, we could say the Captain Marvel. And we've got, what do you call this one? Tanjiro. Was very excited with the saber right there. We've got Tanjiro. Spectacular. Thank you for your likes. Then we've got, let's place them correctly here, the octopus, Tanjiro, and also Captain Marvel. Or Marvel Captain Marvel, which is a woman. Spectacular. And they're all protesting. Why? Because they say, ye have wearied Yahweh with your words, and you say, in what have we wearied him? And that you say that whomever doth evil pleaseth Yahweh. And you save them from bullet shots. They shoot his ear. If that's true or not, I could care less. I'm not even going to give an opinion about the case because I'm already sick and tired of giving opinions on the stupid shit of this world. If it was true, possibly it was true. Was it all set up? I don't know. Tell the truth, I don't. What do I decide not to believe in anything? Just like that, I don't believe in anything. It's like I'm watching a movie. Wow. Well, just like that. Wow. And the actors, they go down. They go down, squeeze something, get blood out. I don't know if it's true or fake. I don't know. Some stupid guy, they see him there that is shooting. They don't shoot at him. They're looking at him. The people let him know. I don't know. It's like unreal. I rather watch football and fight against the arbiters and that are watching that, and then to be watching, I decide just let them do whatever they want. Just let them do whatever they want. There's so many things that I don't care anymore about. But of course, this gang is saying, like many Christians could be saying, God protected the tramp. God protected the last trumpet. If I were a Christian, of course, and I were an idiot, blind, stupid, and I believed in the politicians, then I would be saying, thank you, Jesus, for protecting my future president. Thank you. You saved his life. That bullet was going straight to his brain, and you moved it with an angel's hand because you wanted that anointed of yours, almost a Messiah, to go up into office and to fix this. Because we've got a bad guy that he's already messed up in the head, and my hero has to go up. And of course, then after those images you say, in one way or another, God must have intervened here, because if it was real, for it to just nick you, and for it to not blow up your whole ear. But I mean, wow, the public, and then after that, to get up, it's kind of like it hit him. Nobody knew what happened. He gets up. It's a resurrection. and with his hand up saying, "Fight, fight," and with the American flag behind him and with blood. Wow. I mean, the lamb almost as if he had been slain. I'm seeing an image. It says, and the lamb spoke as if he had been slain with all the glorious flag behind him, and says, "Fight, fight for justice." And you say, wow, it is those epic images that the director is difficult for him to get right. Well, that was perfect in one take, with spectacular takes, epic ones for the history books. If this were to continue to show the spirit of the American fighting spirit. It's actually dog shit, tell you the truth, and a little secret. Because they're more faggots than anything. But anyway, you have to show it unto the world and the heroes, the spirit, the American fighting spirit, that with even a bullet shot, that with blood, he's going to rise up and say, "Let's fight, fight, fight for this country, fight for the liberty, fight." I mean, what an epic scene. Well, even I want to go and vote now, already. He even got my vote. So then what do you want me to talk to? But look, I'd rather watch a horrible second division in the Argentinian football, not Mexico. There's never any good. I said second or third division of the Argentinian football. I'd rather watch that. And other than to be watching the show, that if we get into it, wow, I mean, of course, it's kind of like a magnet that traps the minds of the people, and it shows them some towers falling, and wow, and you have the heart invested in that, and then you say, "No, but it was planned by this one," and the other one says, "No, it was planned by this other one." It's all alive. It's all true, and we're in that in our whole life, in conspiracy theories, chasing the rabbit down the hole, and we never get him, and then the moon landing 50 years behind, and we say that happened or not, and then afterwards, then the conspiracy theories, or realities that it didn't happen, but we get into that whole role. It's where we should not get into, precisely, in no conspiracy, because it is a part of this whole deceit, where Yahweh deceives. Don't believe that Yahweh was not involved from the moon landing to what happened now with the blood in the ear. Yahweh is involved in all that, in everything he's involved. That is why these, and we are still protesting, it would seem as if you bless the wicked. Whomever doth evil pleaseth Yahweh. You save them with even nicked by a shot. And in such he delighteth. Or else, where is the Elohim of justice? Exactly. We are waiting for the Elohim of justice. That is the real truth. That is why I tell you, do not deviate with this conspiracy theories. Don't get into that whole fight of the flat earth. It doesn't matter. I 100%, absolutely, completely, I'm a flat earther. Just as much of a flat earther as that there is one Elohim, Yahweh, or whatever his name is. As much as that the Messiah is here on earth today. All that is recorded in my mind, because I record it. Whether you like it or not, it's recorded there. That is the way it is. So then there's no more need for me to fight with another. No, because I'm going to show you that the earth is flat. There's no need. It's absolutely flat, period. Nobody got to the moon, period. I'm not going to watch videos because I could care less. I'm not going to waste a minute in the show, because both those that make videos and all their whole life making videos like that, and they only have that message and nothing else, like the one that other messages and nothing else, is part of the show. I go and I transcend that. I transcend it. Once I learned that 2 times 2 is 4 and it's 5 or 3, I'm not going to sit there and argue all day 2 times 2 is 4 and I'm still repeating 2 times 2 is 4 and I'll make another video 2 times 2 is 4. I mean, I could care less anymore. No, because 2 times 2 is 3. Okay, fine. That's fine if you want to believe that. Continue on, whatever. That's it. It's over. I could care less. The symbol of flat earth is here. A symbol. The earth is flat, completely flat. But the earth is not just flat. The earth is almost infinitely enormous, because the earth is heaven. Heaven is here. We are part of heaven. It's just that we're enclosed. We are enclosed here. There is no heaven above. God is looking towards the south to look to God, you have to look towards Argentina, always, wherever you are. Towards Argentina, and if you're in Argentina, look south. To the south. Look to the south. Always to the south. And if you're somewhere else, look to the south. Why? Because the south is actually everything. But the closest gate is Argentina. Because we've got the Pope, who's from the end of the world, and we have Elijah. And we have Maradona and Messi. And the little angel also. What else do you want? That's it. That's it. Without any discussions, absolutely no discussions, no argument. This earth is flat, but it's part of heaven. When we pass on to the other level of creation, then we shall conquer, and there's no need to expand the earth, but if we call it to expand in the part in which where we can live, then of course we're going to expand our area of dwelling, but the earth will be opened, because you have to harbor, new word, you have to harbor all human beings that have ever existed, and we're not going to harbor them in apartments one on top of another, like China or New York or a central. No, of course not. Of course not. Now, can we keep cities like that? I think that's perfect, but for everyone to have their own property, really huge, that is a basic need for every human being. So then, this earth will be opened, and we shall have territories that are absolutely unknown for human beings. But the fact that we are going to incorporate, because the Messiah will make everything big, and that is precisely the new heavens and the new earth, because the earth will be expanded. Very well. But everything is born in where is the Elohim of justice. And continuing to speak about what happened, I don't believe in anything. Don't waste your time. You can watch a little bit, but don't get into that so much, because in my point of view, it is all tactics to make you waste the path. There's no other reason. Very well. Where is the Elohim of justice? Here is the Elohim of justice. Here it is. He does not have power. It does not have authority yet. But once he does have it, the world is over as you know it. Very well. Let us start with the questions. Question number 1. Difficult question, okay? Difficult. Subject, racism. Non-racism of insanity, of violence, and total rejection, no. And my mind automatically relates black and white. Of course, if they say racism, you say black and white. But there's a lot more things. You've got the Orientals, you've got a whole quantity of different varieties. You've got the Orientals, you've got, I was going to say the indigenous people, or although they could be other races, of course. Racism, is it cultural? Is it something imposed in our being so as to not mix the races? Maybe. They could mix and nothing would happen. Maybe. The mixture generates genetic conflicts. Maybe we could be worse if we were to be mixed. Maybe we could be better if we would be mixed. The point is that racism. Is racism imposed by Yahweh in our conscience? Whether it's for good or evil. A great big hug. Greetings to Leslie and the children. As long as the subject of racism does not hurt at all. And today, these sons of bitches, they're always talking about racism, feminism, and all that. Same thing. Anyway, why can I talk about racism? Racism, the only one to blame of that is called the Creator. He could be to blame, or he could be called the Creator. He created different races. Also, he created different languages. Why? To divide. To divide. And in order for this to be a chaos, and so that we learn. There's no way, in any chance whatsoever, that for some genetic mutation or some mixture with something else, you got the black race or the white race or the Chinese race. No. This is creation. This is creation. Yahweh made them that way, designed them that way. We cannot even, we could think, but we could not define even what color Yahweh is. We can't define him. We can't, because who has seen him? Until you don't see him, we could speculate. We could believe that the people of Israel was, give or take, the color of Adam and Eve. Not even that we could define. Nothing. We can't define anything, just like that. Nothing. What is racism? It is a curse. It is a curse with which Yahweh gave us to all of us, the same thing as any other thing, to make our lives difficult for everything, both for any race, for everything. That is why we, if we're intelligent, we have to surpass that and see people way past what they are outwardly. Is that difficult? It is difficult because we're fighting against a programming. As they would ask me, black or white. If you're born in a country like Argentina, for example, I'm going to talk to you about where I was born. I know other countries. I'll tell you the way other countries think, maybe not the way you think. Racism is not marked. What is marked is another word, which I like the way it was defined. In Argentina, racism is not marked. I'm not saying that there isn't, but it's not about the black race against them. No, in Argentina, racism actually is against the people of the interior from Buenos Aires, against the people of the interior that do not speak like the porteño or the Rio Platense, and that could look a little darker. You could look a little different. They have a tone that it's a little different. So then it is in that inequality that there is, even if it's the same race, and even if they have the same color. If we want to call racism in Argentina in one way or another, it's that. That is called, I don't want to mention any words because they could block the videos, but in Argentina, they don't use this anymore that I'm going to mention, okay? What I'm going to mention is not used anymore, ever again. But in my time when I was little, and in the time of my parents and grandparents, there was a very ugly term in Buenos Aires, which was, it was called, you would call anyone from the interior of the country of Argentina, you called them blackheads. It is a word that has nothing to do with being black in the skin, but it has to do with that you're not from here, from the capital. You're an ignorant fool, a little blackhead. It is minimal, okay? And that has been lost. It has been lost. It has been lost. It could still exist, but it's almost non-existent. Now in Argentina, that it's something that is called classism, which is different, in which I am, give or take, in consonance with what classism. What is classism? Classism is not racism. Classism is the difference. I'm not going to talk about social differences, but differences which are, I have to say social differences because it is the difference of status, but of status from level even in conversation, of how you dress, what you know, what you don't know. So you understand what classism is. It is, for example, a group of doctors were speaking, and some construction worker wants to talk to them equal to equal. They won't, because the doctors will talk about their own and the construction worker of his own. You understand? So then, that is classism, classes. So then, Argentinian, they are classist in the point that if you go to a place not dressed accordingly, they will make it known. You are out of place. If you had to go, for example, if you had to wear a suit somewhere and you went there because you're a rebel dressed in a different way, they're going to tell you, wow, you are completely out of place. And if they won't tell you, they'll look at you and they'll make you feel it. They'll make you feel that classism, it's also a part of this, of the people of lots of money with poor people. They don't get together a lot because the poor people, they have a certain idea of life, and rich people have a different idea. It's obvious. Solomon explains that. What wisdom is. When wisdom is unequal, now if you have in a place people that are of more money or less money, but at the same level of wisdom and intelligence, they can speak perfectly well. Classism exists everywhere, but I'll tell you what does exist in Argentina is classism a little bit, not a lot also, just a little bit. Now. Argentina has no problem with the black race. Or else look for a video online where they say, we were mistreated. You won't find it. Just like that, you won't find it. But in other parts of Latin America, you will find it. You will find it. Just like that, you will. There is a very marked racism. For example, I've seen with my own eyes, Mexico, how they mistreat the other countries because Mexico feels superior. They feel superior to El Salvador. They feel superior to Guatemala. They feel superior to whomever. And they mistreat them in a way that is so despotic that it has caught my attention, really. Because I say, here, a dead body is scared of someone without a head. Mexico thinks that they are the maximum of the civilization, of the Indian Aztec civilization. I have to say it. And they see the rest. They say, you are, wow, whatever. Have you felt that you in Guatemala, what I say, or not? Maybe in this country you don't feel it as much, but does that rivalry exist? It does exist. I've seen it. It exists. That's racism. The Mexicans with the Argentinians, they don't fuck with us. They do insult us. I've gone to play Mexico and Argentina would insult us and call us all names. If I wear a Boca flag, not even the Argentinian flag, but the Boca, you do feel it. But they feel when they're in groups, you feel the pressure, but you don't feel it. They don't dare to argue with Argentinians because they see us different. And they don't fuck with us. They're like, they're Argentinians. It's racism. But they have these guys, they think they're all that and this and that. That is the reality. That's the reality. Now, when sometimes they become friends, they get along very well. But it exists. In Argentina, that does not exist. I want to declare that. If a Mexican goes, or a Guatemalan goes, a Venezuelan goes, a Colombian to Argentina, and they'll treat them, or an African, and they'll treat them as if they are the best. They'll treat them that way. They'll treat them as an equal. They'll teach them to drink mate. They'll treat them with love. Always. That does not take place in the countries here because there's a different mentality. I have to say it. Actually, I have to say it because, or else, why do I speak to you? Since you asked me about racism, not just black and white. It's not just black and white. There is a very marked racism. It's marked between races. Everything that is Latin America is very highlighted, indigenous, mixed with white. And it is noticeable. They'll make it notable. I've walked through the city of Mexico, and everyone would look at us, Leslie and I. We go into the supermarket, and the whole world looks at us as if we were toads from a different pond, looking at us. We go to a park, they'd look at us. I just went a little bit dressed because some Argentinian ones took us to this club that was of the high of in the pink zone in the Mexican city, in the city of Mexico, and it was all people of money. And I said, I don't want to enter because who I am, that classism, I don't belong there. I cannot enter there. I don't have my Christian Dior. I don't have anything. Just a white shirt. I was embarrassed to go in there. My wife told me to go in there, and we went there. All movie artists would go there. They would all look at us. They would look over to look at us. They would. Someone would dare to see who we are. And I said, and I was like, oh wow, impressive. I can tell you my own experience in Mexico. There really is racism, and that happens with us. For somebody from a different country, they also make it be noticeable because there is racism. In fact, it is so wicked, the Mexican racism is, because here they become the victims, but it's not that way. That when the Mexicans cross the border, and those that go and check him, they ask him to check his immigration papers. If they are Latin or Mexican, they look at them with such as if they were despicable people. They ask them 50,000 questions. Don't think that you're going to be kind with your own race. No, they don't speak to them in Spanish. They have a face of a fucking Indian, and they don't speak to them in Spanish. They speak to them in English, knowing Spanish. They say, and with an accent to top it off, they speak to you in English because they want to show that they already surpassed something and they're different to the rest of the Mexicans. I have never seen such a contempt in the Latin people from here. Tell the truth, I've never seen it. I've never experienced it in Argentina. It really called my attention. Tell the truth, like as an Argentinian, it really called my attention, and in that they have to work on all the Mexicans, also the Guatemalans, also the Salvadorians, also, well, the Colombians, I'm not going to mess with them. I'm not going to get into it. I don't have much experience with them. But those here, I have dealt with on a permanent basis. A level of envy unknown to me. Unknown to me. In Argentina, of course, the people are envious, but the level of envy that I've seen here, wow. In the workplaces, they kill each other, they betray each other to go up a little bit, to do well with the, I'm talking about the Latins themselves. It is incredible. There is something in the Indian race that is evil, perverse, and to top it off, the worst of them all, on top of being cowardly, are vengeful from behind. They are vengeful from behind. And thus, the thing that I hate the most of the Latins here, they come to take vengeance from behind. That is what we've got, the gangs, we've got the shots in the homes. I mean, it's incredible. Never a person of good comes to be vengeful from behind. You do something to these people that I've just mentioned. I don't want to mention them because I'm going to offend all the Mexicans. But let them get offended. Because they're not a part of an Elohim of justice if they don't change. Let them get offended. They have to change. They have to take out that Indianness from within. They have to take it out. Not what they look, the Indian inside. That vengefulness that they have. And vengefulness that's cowardly. I've never seen it. I've never seen it. You do something to a Mexican, you insult him, or you tell him something that he didn't like. The guy says, and then they go and think it over, and they come with a gun later, from behind. That level of cowardly, I've never seen it, because they don't face you face to face. Let's fix things just like that without weapons, just with our hands. No. They come from behind, and they say, he's gonna pay for this. Just like in the fucking Mexican movies or the soap operas, I swear that he'll pay. Wow, I mean, that is not of a man of good. That is not of a man of good. That right there is a problem in all the Latin Americans. In Argentina, yeah, I've never seen that. That vengefulness, I've never seen it. In Argentina, you fight and you fuck each other up with your fists, and we would insult each other. You son of a bitch, you're dog shit, you son of a bitch. We would fight, and then later, great friends. But that resentment never would stay there. It would never linger. It would never linger. Oh, that guy, he's going to pay for the. It wouldn't linger. That is something that is authentically Indian, and I detest it. And no one that has that will serve the Elohim of justice. No one that has that. Because things will be fixed face to face. And the things are faced in the moment, not later, from behind. Never I've seen so many murders, so many injustices. It only takes, for example, just a stupid example that Brian to have a problem with, for example, when he used to work at a place, a Latin place, and then when he goes out into his car, then his tires are popped. Wow. Wow, absolutely. Wow, that is what you call cowardly, and it is, I'm going to tell you, whoever you like it or not, since we're talking, it is in every Latin here. It is there. I'll repeat it again. It is the worst characteristic that they have, and if you don't recognize it, you will not be as an Elohim of justice. They are actually, they have something within which they go and take vengeance from behind, not face to face, from behind. See, or else how the cartels work, from behind. You do something, they come and they shoot up your house. They're eating and they shoot you up, and they kill you from behind. And they think that they're machos. No. They are dog shit. They are absolute dog shit. Just like that, dog shit. And all those that have that essence, and listen to me well, are no good. They don't serve the Elohim of justice, not as an Elohim of justice. A person has to be noble. If you have to fight, you have to fight. If you have to fight, you have to battle, but never from behind. Never afterwards. Never with a vengeance. Never. Face to face, if you see things that are wrong, or else, that's it, and fix it. And that is beautiful. That is beautiful. Never from behind. What do they do from behind? They make little videos. Then they go make little videos about people from the Eternal Truth, naked, of Christian Silva, little kid. That is what your stupid vengeance. It is in the essence of the Indian. I cannot explain it in any other way. I just cannot explain it in any other way. I myself have stopped employees of me that wanted to do something to somebody else that they owed him. Said, no. I said, no, leave him. No, he's going to pay. No, I'll pay for you. He's not going to pay for you. If you don't fix it in the moment, let him go. Let it go. Just let it go. That's it. It's over. We don't plan vengeful or future vengeance. There's not that. How many times did my Mexican employee says, I have a little thorn in my heart? Then take it out. Then take it, you idiot. What do you mean you have something out and you don't even notice? Oh, no, because he hurt my little heart. I've never heard such a phrase from Argentina to say, he hurt my little heart. Wow. They get hurt easily, these Indians. That is not racism. I'm criticizing a race entirely, mind you. When I say Mexican, I'm saying Guatemalans, same thing. I'm saying everyone, okay? All of them. That whole part in the north, they're the same. Cut with the same scissors. That's why they fight amongst each other, because they have that vengefulness. Even though they may be mixed with Europeans, they still have the customs and the way of being of their own. Exactly. The Indian from within comes out. The Indian from within comes out. The subject, I don't know if it'll stay up. You speak to a Latin American public, yes. Many will be left. I don't know. They have to change by the voice which of that European civilization that came to change them, or else they won't. I'll repeat this again. They won't have a future in the world. They will not be able to be a part of the Messiah if you don't change. Because the Messiah is not vengeful. It's not vengeful. They fix things in the moment, but they're not vengeful. They don't chew vengeance. They don't chew the anger and then afterwards execute them cowardly. Never. Never, ever, absolutely never. So then, since I have a public that's very wide, I want to explain this to you so that you understand it clearly. It goes way past racism. And talking about racism, black and white, it was invented by Yahweh. It was invented by Yahweh. Speaking about the indigenous people, it was placed by Yahweh. Who do you think that placed the indigenous to do sacrifices? Yahweh did, of course, Yahweh. Who made man and woman? Yahweh did. Obviously. So then the Messiah has to be a non-racist guy that do not see black and white, Indian, or another race. No. They have to see the soul of the people, and when I speak, I'm talking to the soul of the people. If I made your nationality hurt, it is because precisely it is the message you had to hear, that you had to hear. Then hate it and change. Exactly, you have to change. You have to hate that part and change. And I talk both to men and women, mind you. The Latin women are, wow, that the husband does something to them. You see how they're going to get back at them or their friend. Oh, wow. I mean, don't even mention if the whole soap opera is all vengeance or not. It's all like that. Why? Because they enjoy it. It's kind of like something that is within. That vengeance. There's something within. Wow. Absolutely. If I made it hurt you, it is actually the message, the main message, because you have to change. Exactly, because you have to change. You have to eradicate that desire of vengefulness or that anger or that thorn in your little heart. You have to take it out. You shouldn't have that wrath within. None whatsoever. So then, answering this question, of course, Yahweh placed any level of racism in our head, and that is multiplied. He placed it there to divide, and that transcends the cultures in your country. Yes, of course, the whole world is racist. Although that term is misused, the whole world is racist. They're against the other race, whatever the other race might be. They're white, black, gray, Chinese, Indian. They're against other things. Is uniting everything fixes it? Someday, eventually, everything will have to unite. I do agree with that. In fact, how many mixtures are there? How many mixes are there? A whole bunch of mixes. That right there, does it fix the situation? Up until today, nothing fixes it. Not even that or separating them. It is not the solution by getting married, one from a different race. No, that is not. It's never demonstrated to be the solution. That's what I'm trying to say. It is not the solution. Not that it'll be in the future. Well, maybe it will be in the whole world. Either they switch or a new race emerges. Who knows? I'm not worried about that. But yes, answering this question, it is a part of the whole chaos of this earth. Yahweh has done this, and with this, I'll get the conclusion of everything. Let us go to Bereshit or Genesis. Genesis chapter 11, and he'll speak in a majestic manner. Yahweh said, 11:6 and on. I don't know where it'll end up. I'll continue up until 9. Yes, up until 9. 11, Genesis 11:6 through 9 says, and Yahweh said, behold, the people is one. It's not convenient for the people to be one and united. No. We've got unity now. It's not convenient. It says for my purposes. No. And they have all one language. It's not convenient either. I don't want to have only one. And there's something else here that I'll tell you that is missing. And they all have one skin color. Maybe that's what's missing. I cannot assure it, but maybe it's missing. I can assure it. I don't know if it was in that point in time or with the sons of Noah. I cannot assure that. But that he changed the genetics, it's he. It is he. Absolutely, he did it. That he took a skin almost perfect like mine. That is not so white, or also so black. You're laughing. Not black. It is perfect. Not so dark. It, the one that made it so white, white and ugly, he did it. Or black, he did it. Or that made the eyes kind of like that Chinese, he did it. That he did a wide nose like that, is he. Or a perfect mouth like me to a huge mouth like that, it's he did that. He did all that. Or a hair that my hair is very little. He made this huge kind of hair that is so coarse that he did that. It didn't come on its own. It was not a mixture with animals like Ellen G. White said. And Yahweh says, and Yahweh said, behold, the people are one, and they have all one language. And this they began to do. And now nothing will be restrained from them which they have imagined to do. Let us go down, that's two, they say. And let us confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. Who did that? Satan? No, it was Yahweh. No one understands dog shit. That's what the Bible says. Don't let them understand, not even the scripture. I'll read it to you just like it is. Don't let anyone understand anything. And so the Lord scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth, and they left off to build a city. Therefore is the name of it called Babel, because Yahweh did there confound, because Yahweh is a God of confusion. The Christians say Satan is the God of confusion, or that being, no, it's God. Because he confounded, he confused the people. Because there did he confound the language of all the earth. And from thence did Yahweh scatter them abroad upon the face of all the earth. He divided us. He invented those that have the phrase divide and conquer. He invented it. Divide and conquer. They're very united. Let's divide to conquer. And when they see we're going to go back to divide and subdivide, we have the Jews this and that, and then Christianity. Christianity is not united. No, at first they started as the Holy Catholic Apostolic Roman Church. No, that cannot be. Subdivide them. So then called Luther, he called this and that, Calvin, a whole bunch of things, and they said, you know what, I'll give you this. You know what, he's wrong. And he says, oh, that's true, Lord. I'm a reformer. And so they subdivided and subdivided and subdivided and subdivided until we got to the eternal truth. That's the way it is. That's the way he works. He confounded everyone. Absolutely everyone. And careful that he can confound you. Maybe he makes you believe that the 17th or the 18th of September, he comes to rapture you secretly. Careful, for him might confound you. Careful lest he confound you. Let's see. Where were we? We are in, 234 watching. 286, and it's 234 or 237 Argentinians. Oh, that's great. Good thing there's not one sole Mexican, or else they'd be offended. Very well. Yahweh is the one that divided everything. Yahweh invented the races, of course, that we fight each other. We have to exit from that. We have to see in a different direction. We have to transcend. Just like we transcend with the news, just like we transcend from all the conspiracy theories, we transcend from that. We could care less. If they're like, oh, look at the show. Oh, no, I could care less. And you could say, but you start to watch soccer, which is another part of the show. Well, it is another part of the show, but at least it makes me have fun. It makes me have fun more than politics. Very well. I've answered that already. The same thing and everything. He divided men and women. The first division he did was Adam and Eve. When we should be, maybe, be whole beings like him. But he divided us. He divided us once and for all. Male and female. What does that mean? That before we were with only one sex. Only one sex. With both things, both characteristics. Completely. But he divided us. What for? To multiply us. That's fine. But he is the one that divides. He divided Noah his wife and his sons' wives, and the rest he killed, but he divides. Then he divided Abraham from his family. He said, leave, I want to divide you. I want to give you this land. And then afterwards, he divided whom? The son of Abraham, you say, you have to take Ishmael, and I will make a good division there. And it says, I'm going to make them fight each other forever and ever, and you will not be able to get rid of them. You will always have your little brethren before you fighting to divide you. So then he divided Ishmael, and he had Isaac. And that is how. And what about Isaac? He divided again to whom? Jacob and Esau. Once again, from the womb. He says, once again, there are two nations that will fight. They'll hate each other. They will fight from the very womb. A division. That is what Yahweh loves. Division. So then who made the races? The one that divides. It's Yahweh. But of course, don't even mention it. And then after Jacob, the 12 tribes, and we still divide and subdivide. It says, I only want one tribe, I own 12 tribes. So that between the 12, there's envies and jealousy. It says, there's the chosen for that. But let's divide. And so on and so forth up until today. He is the God of the division. I had never explained it that way. It's the way it is. You had never seen it that way. God of division. Very well. Oh, how I am so hot today. Question number 2. Free will, does that exist? Whether completely or partially, if somebody kills, that assassin and that victim, are they predetermined? Even in the moment, day, and exact moment, a child kills a bird with his slingshot. Is that act willingly of the child, and that little bird died because that's the way, or not determined? Very good question. When Yeshua says, and here the question goes to a level, goes on to a question that is very, very difficult to explain. When Yeshua says that no bird falls to the ground without his Father knowing, is it that Yahweh really knows it? Or is it that Yahweh did that? Made him fall, that is. Obviously applying it to everything as it is referred to Yeshua. It's actually very difficult to answer this question. It's very difficult to answer it. Does free will exist? I think it does exist. It has to. Now that an induction exists, it also does exist, but maybe not completely, maybe partially. But within the selections, maybe they're not entire selections, but directed. That for certain people, and for other people, it is very much directed. It would seem to be free will, but how do I know if all of a sudden I see something that I want, and I see something else that could be, and I said, no, I don't like that, I like this one. How do I know whether Yahweh, or how can I assure or not, if Yahweh placed that wish in me? I cannot assure that. Could he do it? Yes, of course he could. Are there cases in the Bible on a permanent basis? Do I distrust of Yahweh completely? Completely, I never know if it is me or if Yahweh is making me do it. Sometimes I start to think, this that I like to do, or to say, is it me? Or is it that I like it because Yahweh placed something in me that is a discharge that makes me like it? So then I do it, not because I really like it, or my soul likes it, or I like it because they place something programmed in me that I like. But actually, it's not part of me. I've asked myself those questions that are very deep. What is this that I do, or want to do, or say? Why do I do it? Why? Why do I feel what I feel? Do I feel it because it's a part of my body? Do I feel it because it is my mind and my programming? Or just because Yahweh wanted me to feel it? Which is it? I don't have the answer. But I do have the answer about Pharaoh. Pharaoh wanted to take the people, fuck off the people of Israel. What did Yahweh do? And Yahweh would harden his heart. What? And Yahweh would harden his heart. And every time Yahweh would harden his heart. So then the poor guy, thinking that in his free will, he would be upset. No, I'm not going to let him go. It was in him. It was Yahweh in him. And I have so many cases of those to tell you. So many cases of those to tell you. A whole bunch. That we are guided invisibly from above. So then when we cannot assure that that is me, don't be so sure. Pharaoh also said, that is me. That is me. It wasn't him. It wasn't him. It wasn't him. So then, can we completely direct it? We could be completely directed. We could be immediately directed, or almost none whatsoever. But since we know that we could be directed, and we're not going to notice when we're directed, then I distrust completely of Yahweh, and He is to blame. Because I don't know whether He is inciting me to do something. Another example, very clear, that I've presented 1,000 times, so it's present. Two more I'll give you. The first one, Balaam. Balaam, with all his racialism, he wanted to curse Israel. He would open his mouth to curse, but Yahweh, with the arts that he has, would make him bless Israel. Suck on that. A guy wants to say something, and then something else comes out. Another example is that of Judas. Judas had decided not to give Yeshua up. He noticed that, no, he wasn't going to do it. And so then Satan entered in him. That's the way it is. He's saying it in a symbol. The manipulation of Yahweh. Right there. So then he rose up and gave him up. Who can blame Judas? No one. Who's going to blame him? If Satan entered in him, if Satan is Yahweh. So then it wasn't Judas, it was Yahweh. And like that one, I have a whole bunch, mind you, a whole bunch more to tell you. Completely. Of the scriptures. So then, does free will exist? I don't know. I'm going to say that yes. Until what point? I don't know. Because I think that Yahweh continues to create. And He continues to create with everything. Maybe the bullet that was going to this character was going to the center of his head. But Yahweh said, no, I need him. And no, I want to make him even more popular. Maybe it was going a meter out. But Yahweh says, let him get nicked. To make it more spectacular and epic. To make it more credible, more believable, to make the people say, wow, to nick him. I see the hand of Yahweh everywhere, just like that. That's the way, I believe it that way. When a murderer kills, this is determined. Is it determined? I have to conclude that yes. That a murderer kills, it is determined. I cannot say Yahweh allows it. No, I can't say that. I can say that Yahweh, that is determined already. It's difficult. Maybe one says no. Maybe it was nothing but his own decision of the person. Okay. But it doesn't only take of the murder to kill, but a person that is alive will no longer exist. And Yahweh knows that he will no longer exist, and has lots of ways to avoid from that happening. Way too many. And if he has many ways to avoid from that happening, I want to know whether, for you to tell me where is the text that is in Matthew, where is the text that Yahweh says that He knows how many hairs we have, and if a little bird falls, all that. I think it's in John also, but look for that one that says that He knows even the birds that are flying right now and the ones that fall to the ground. Or if my cat eats one, I have since I'm a cat owner, we're cat owners, not of one, but of 6. If he eats a lizard, I would take care of my lizards. I would love my lizards from all the, I don't know, like hundreds of lizards, big ones, little ones. I would always see them. Matthew 10:30. And now my cat, he has one for breakfast, and I see him, he eats it and kills it, cuts it in half, eats it, the entrails and everything, and he enjoys it and looks at you, and the blood all over the place, and I say, wow. Who programmed that cat to eat that lizard? That lizard, did God know that it was alive? Yes. You know that we're going to die right there? It was going to be my cat's breakfast? Yes. Why did God know this? Or else everything else? What'd you say, Matthew? What? Matthew 10:29. Let's see what it says. Matthew 10:29 says as follows: Are not two sparrows sold for a farthing? In other words, very cheap, just a little coin. And one of them shall not fall on the ground without your Father. That about without your Father is kind of like without the permission of your Father. I think that it says without the permission of your Father. But the very hairs of your head are all numbered. When did Yahweh count my hairs? The little ones that I have, the few that I have, before I start to speak, because I'm sure some fell already. It varies. It varies. The number varies. Let's look it up in a different version. Matthew 10:29. Did somebody take place? Something happened. Oh, can you lower it to the 75? What does Luke 12:7 says? For the hairs in your head are all numbered. Yes, but the one about the birds. I want the one about the birds. Oh, okay, it's different. Matthew 10. Wow, I am sweating. Are you not hot? You don't feel hot? I don't know, I'm not looking. Gabriel posted, do not two sparrows sold for a farthing, one of them. No, that is the same one I have. 10:29. Hold on a minute. 10:29. I want to see a different version. Let's see, for example. Well, I don't know if it's miswritten or not, but in the Spanish DHH, it says, are not two sparrows sold for a little coin, yet not even one of them falls to the ground without your Father allowing it. For example, that is give or take what it's trying to say, what it means. Now, is the permission of the Creator is required to kill a creature. A creature is an animal. So then, in a murder of humans, was everything pre-programmed? I cannot answer that question, tell the truth. I cannot answer it, but according to that text, it is allowed by him. It is authorized by him. If a child does like kills a bird, well, Yahweh knew that bird and allows for it to die, or else he could have made a miss. There are so many variations of this. That's why I cannot go into this a lot, but it is very, very deep and profound to understand that Yahweh interacts on a permanent basis. It's the way it is. When a person dies, no matter how much you pray, if he says they're going to die, they're going to die. I mean, and if a person should not die, no matter if no one prays, not even for he himself to believe in God, it's obvious. So then what? Then it's decided by Yahweh. Life is kind of like, I'm going to say something which maybe it isn't that way. I'm going to say something that maybe it isn't that way. It doesn't matter. I can imagine that if it could be in this way, if something could be, I'm going to say something that I'll repent later of having said. But oh well. Just so that we understand a little bit. So that we understand this a little bit. And we're not even going to understand that myself or you. So that we understand this a little bit more. Just imagine God as the center of life, without form, without anything. Well, the Jews say, life itself, unexplainable, a life. Everything that exists on this earth, starting with us, it is an extension of himself, and it is connected to him. Just like if you were to say, connected to the internet, same thing. There's no online connection, you're dead. Let's give that example. You don't have internet, you're dead. So then there's a cable or it's wireless. But there's a real connection. So then every single thing that exists on this earth that is connected to that center of life, in that way he controls the same thing that that all the cells of our body are connected to the brain. The brain controls everything. The brain knows if you touch here, if something happens, if a little mosquito touches your skin, the brain knows it all. Every cell of our body, not just the external ones, but the internal ones, they're all connected to the brain. That brain is God. And God makes it grow, or for it to no longer function, for you to die. So then, the brain decides. If God is like that brain, all the things which subside are as much connected to him directly. We and everything, and when he decides to disconnect you, you die. You die. And when someone, or there's an accident or a murder or something, he allows it, because or else he does not disconnect him. Same thing as the birds, the same thing. I haven't understood that I've just said. God, a force, an intelligent force of life, and all the rest of the things that exist connected to him. Then let us read this text again. Are not two little birds sold for a little coin? Yet not one of them falls to the ground without your Father allowing it. Yet about yourselves, even the hairs of your very head are all numbered by him one by one. Right there, according to the figure that I've just given, all connected to him. He has a complete analysis what happens with us. If we're a cell of the brain, he does a complete analysis. He knows how many hairs you have, how many just fell right now, and when he decides to cut those cells for you to die, when he decides for another cell to attack it and for it to die, he knows that. He decides everything because we're connected to a force, a divine force of life. We cannot live alone. Another example, and I'll give it, is in John chapter 15. John chapter 15. I hope it's in number 15. John chapter 15. John chapter 15. Very well. It says, I am the true vine. Who is the true vine? The Mashiach. The Mashiach. Yahweh saying it. Prefiguring the Mashiach like a messianic figure, but he's not the Messiah. So then, what good is this? For those who understand, only for those who understand that he was not the Messiah, that it was Yahweh, the only one there is, the center of life connected everything with him. And the one that understands that the Messiah is a figure that was going to come 2,000 years later, barely then is when I can understand. The Messiah says, and today he says, I am the true vine. No one else. I am the true vine, the plant that has life. No one else, mind you. No, there's no other plant. No other plant exists. The rest are plants that have no life. And my Father, the only one there is, the only Father there is, Yahweh, is the husbandman. Perfect. It was not my intention to explain this parable today, but I mean, it's just marvelous. And with the question that they asked me, I am the true vine, the Messiah says. That is not Yahweh speaking, mind you. It is the Messiah. And he says it to those who want to understand. I am the true vine. And my Father, Yahweh, my Elohim, is the husbandman, is the one that is working. All branch, every little branch, that in me, mind you, in me, no, they cannot live separate from the Messiah. They can't. Every branch in me that beareth not fruit, he taketh away. He taketh away. What does that mean? What is the true vine? It is the plant. It is the plant. Everything has to be inserted into this plant. Everything. Those that want to insert themselves into that plant. If in that plant that feeds you, which is the true vine, what is it? The one that gives you that feeds you, that tells you what you need to flourish, what you need to for you to be a person of good. In this example, in this parable, a plant that bears fruit. You want to have fruit? You can fruit only if you are grafted. If the sap feeds you the life, the interpretation there of everything which you call a sap of the true vine. The Messiah is the true vine. The rest has to be grafted in and fed by the Messiah. The God is the husbandman. It is not the one that feeds you. That is incredible. The husbandman feeds the plant. The plant feeds the branches. And the husbandman does not feed you. I am the true vine, and my Father is the husbandman. Every branch that in me, in the Messiah, beareth not fruit, who will take it away? The Father does. How does he do it? Well, he makes you see a video that calls your attention about a rapture that comes in September. For example, it makes you see this is not true. I'm out of here. This guy's too Argentinian. This guy changed my national anthem. This guy made me from Boca. Makes me say Argentinian phrases. He makes me think like an Argentinian. This guy tells me the truth is of the Latin Americans about here. All that you have to suck on. Just like that, like a child sucks from the mother, like a branch receives the sap from the branch. Every branch that in me beareth not fruit, the Father will take it away, fuck it off to hell. And every one that beareth fruit, he will cleanse. It has to be cleansed. But of course, for it to bear even more fruit. So don't think that you already have a little bit of fruit. It says, I'm a little bit of fruit. I put this and that. I understand. Now I repeat YHWH Ekhad. I understand it. No. He's going to cleanse you even more so you can bear more fruit. And unto ye, he speaks. Ye are cleansed by the word that I've spoken unto you. Wow. The Messiah says, what does the Messiah say? How does the Messiah cleanse you? He says, I am the true vine. How will I cleanse you? By the word which I've spoken. He couldn't be even more clear. It's impossible. I don't know how much more clear you want. I mean, this is phenomenal. I was going to explain it someday once again, but oh well. The question arose. Someday we'll explain it into depth. But how are the people cleansed? Through the word. Through the word of listening things that maybe you don't want to listen to. Now ye are clean through the word which I have spoken unto you. How does the Messiah clean? Through the word. Abide in me if you want. That's if you want. Abide in me and I in you. Because the Messiah is not a betrayer. He will not betray you. They can abandon him, but he's not going to abandon you. Unless nobody wants him. Says, okay, then the last one can turn off the lights. Abide in me, and I in you. As the branch, who are the branches? The little branches. As the branch cannot bear fruit of itself. He cannot read the scriptures and understand them by himself. He cannot come with a great explanation by himself. He cannot be fed by his own logic. He cannot argue. But I am Mexican. No. I'm going to teach you what is your national anthem. I'm going to teach you what colors to defend. I'll give you an identity. The Messiah gives you an identity. Without identity, we are nothing. As the branch cannot bear fruit of itself, except it abide in the vine, if it does not abide in the Messiah, as the followers cannot bear fruit by themselves if they don't abide in the Messiah, in the vine, in the one that gives you the message, no more can ye, except ye abide in me. I am the vine, ye are the branches. He that abideth in me, and I in him, the same beareth lots of fruit. For without me, ye can do nothing. Suck on that right there. the whole world, and you know this by memory, they always explained it as Jesus speaking 2,000 years ago. Without Jesus, we cannot do anything. What Jesus are they talking about? These Christians cannot do absolutely anything. Just like that, absolutely nothing. They think they can't do anything because they know not even whom they should be stuck onto. I mean, marvelous. And what happens if not? He that does not abide in me shall be cast out as a branch, and shall dry up, and shall be gathered, and be cast into the fire, and be burned, into the lake of fire. It is more than clear. Into the lake of fire. To be regenerated, they will no longer be a part of the true vine. That is a unique privilege. For them to be saved, for them to live eternally, that's perfect. But to be a part of the vine? Because notice that Yahweh, speaking as if he were the Messiah is speaking and says, I am the vine. What is that? The plant. And what are the branches? Those, if you know, maybe you've never planted anything, but it is, the vine is a little, that sometimes it's kind of crooked because in the winter everything dries up and they have to cut it, but it's the old one, but it is the plant along with the root. That is what the vine is. When spring comes, it starts to grow. And all kinds of green things start to come up, but the one that feeds it is the actual part of the trunk, which is the vine. Now, if you say this is a vine, and the vine and the branches are only one thing, one never says this is the branch and these are the branches. No, they are part of the vine, but they're part of the vine as long as they're joined together with the vine. When they're cut off, it dries off and into the fire. You understand that, right? So then, the Messiah, like I've told you, is a conjunction, but a conjunction as long as they're united, joined together to the one that cleanses through the word, the one that gives you the word. In the moment that they want to cut themselves, because they think they're more intelligent, they have a better message, they separate themselves from the vine. The Bible tells you, the Messiah tells you, cut off and dried up into the lake of fire. And in this, well, another one was missing, number 6. I'll read it again. If a man abide not in me, he is cast forth as a branch, and is withered, and men gather them and cast them into the fire, and they are burned. If ye abide in me, and my words abide in you, and my words abide in you. What is the text of the invitation? You know this by memory. Proverbs 1:23. Pay attention to my corrections, and I will fill you with my spirit. I shall make my true thoughts be known unto you. It's all the same thing. Who can say that if it's not the Messiah himself? Here the Messiah is speaking, prefigured by Yahweh. So then what Yahweh is saying is what the Messiah had to say and is saying. If ye abide in me, and my words abide in you, then ask what you will, and it shall be done unto you. Wow. It takes a new meaning. Here is my Father glorified, the only one there is. That's why the Messiah is speaking. Herein is my Father Yahweh glorified, that ye bear much fruit. So shall ye be my disciples. And I'll leave it right there, because it's a lot more, and it's very good. And we'll deviate from the subject. So then, does free will exist? Well, I commented that because we're all conjoined. You see what I'm saying? It's like God, and we're connected. Someday, and soon we'll know, if actually Yahweh decided every death, or he would leave it, per se, random. Saying, well, I'll give him, there is something of allowing them, certain people, bro, the rest, well, they have a certain time, if they kill each other, they kill each other. Some will pay for being murderers, and others shall pay for not having defended themselves, and others will pay for being idiots, and others because they didn't do things correctly. That's fine. So from this question, I cannot answer entirely, but that Yahweh is in control according to what we've read. Yes, of course, absolutely. And if He, of Him, proceeds the life of even the little bird and the lizard, if life proceeds from Him, He has to feel. He has to feel when the life stops functioning like Him. Has to go back to Him. You understand what I'm saying? Like a computer knows all his cells. And a red light comes up. It says, oh, bleep, bleep, this one stopped working. Could it be this way? According to the scriptures, according to what we believe, yes. And to what level? I don't know. Very well. Having answered that question, which are very good. I love the questions. I have many more. What time is it? What is the date? I mean, 2 hours 14. I have many more questions, but I think that I'm going to leave them. I'm going to leave them. I am so hot, tremendously hot. I don't know what. Maybe it is broken there. But I do want to highlight the following. Whether it be this year or not. You know what? I'm going to read the next question. It has to do with this. It says, good evening, Christian. Given the times, given so much stupidity, so much insanity and blindness, so many things that one has to bear from the people, including family members, to bear the system, so much injustice. Many times I've asked myself, and I'll ask you today, how to stand in this life? How can we hold us up on in this life? How do we situate ourselves, having so much truth in our mind, in spirit, thanks to the eternal truth? And I'm not referring to our stance with the people, but rather to our interior, our emotional part, how to direct ourselves in our interior circle so as to not be affected so much. Is it in our hands to direct it? How do we do it? An enormous hug. It is actually something that I wonder. It's another difficult question because I feel it constantly. I feel this constantly. Sometimes you can feel different sensations, but you can feel that you're surrounded from a world that's unreal, because it's not in the case of my lineage here, but in the case of all those that surround me on this earth, those close to me, that live an unreal reality. It gets to the point that it has an effect in one, and it's depression. I hope it's not maniac, but it's depressive that you live a reality that's unreal. You believe, or I believe, or everyone believes. I'm going to say what I believe. I believe a flat earth. The whole rest of the things that could be exterior to me talk to me about a globe, because no neighbor will ever tell me that the earth, how beautiful is a good day of this flat earth, right? If I go and buy something, I see globes all over the place, and if I see precisely something in YouTube, because I'm not going to even watch the TV, but in YouTube they say the globe. I see it's all propaganda, unless I watch a flat earth channel that I don't even watch, because to me it's a subject that's already, I don't find too much sense, and it's boring to me. So then that reality, it would seem that you would live in a dream, because it cannot be. It starts to tire you to swim against the current. It tires you out, and in me it has a reaction of fighting, and I have to suffocate it. When in the Adventist church, both Leslie and I, we noticed that the Trinity did not exist, and we didn't understand YHWH Ekhad, that is, that the Trinity does not exist. We didn't want to stay and fight. No, we saw that that was going in a different way. So what do we go? We leave this out of here. Let them follow whatever they want to go, but we're not going to be in that current fighting and fighting. No, absolutely not. I can yell at them from outside, but I'm not going to be in the current. But in this case, there's no way of escaping the current. We live in a place that all the people and the collective consciousness, I believe in the collective consciousness. What is the collective consciousness? The collective consciousness is something that when many people, they start to think in a way and they start to change, it's kind of like there's something in the air that clicks in your mind without not even a conversation taking place, and many people start to feel the same thing and to see something that is a collective consciousness, as if we're all united in something. When something changes, it makes us all change little by little, but we start to change, and when you least expect it, we all think differently. That is a collective consciousness. Do I think we have that? Of course I believe that. If I believe in Elohim, he joins us all. What I just said, collective consciousness is part of Elohim. So then, when he wants to make us change, you will change. If we all believe in Allah, it is because of Elohim. It is the collective consciousness that we have. When flat earth rose, it started, everyone saw. Either pro or against, but they saw the message. Up until today, they're still talking about it. Quite a bit about the subject. But there comes a point that one lives depression because you see everything around you, and you see it, and you know that you don't live in the world that they say it is. So you live in a different world. After that, we add religion, and we add a different thing of different ways of seeing things, and other things of medicine. After that, we add all the rest of the things. Of course, we feel that we are aliens. Like Yeshua said, I am not of this world. And unto his disciples, he says, ye are not of this world. How does he say them exactly? You're not of this world? John, chapter 17. If I'm not mistaken, I could be saying whatever. John, chapter 17. My subconscious knows it, but he's not going to tell me exactly. John chapter 17. Oh, yes, here it is. John chapter 17, text 15 says, number 14. The Messiah is speaking, mind you, the Messiah is speaking once again. I have given them thy word. Messiah gives the word. I have given them thy word, and the world hath hated them. But of course, because the word that the Messiah gives, the world hates you for. It's all contrary to the world. God is this. The world says, no, God is all the contrary. The Messiah says, the earth is this, and the world says, no, it's completely crazy. The earth is this way. It travels, and it spins. And the Messiah says, medicine, and what you have, you produced it. The world says, you're crazy. You need this and this and that, here and that. Go to the doctor, and you inherited this from your mother, and whatever else. And all that, and all that. So then, he says, I have given them thy word, and the world has hated them. Of course, the word of the Messiah makes the world hate you. For they are not of the world, as I am also not of the world. Who was the one that was not of the world? Was it Yahweh? No, Yahweh was not speaking here. Yahweh was not speaking here. We're not speaking as Yahweh as if he were the Messiah. So then, the Messiah, because this is for the Messiah only, it's no good for anyone else. Who else is this good for if they're waiting for Jesus that said this and that Jesus no longer exists? That is only good for the Messiah, no one else, no one else. So then, like the Apocalypse, so then, what does the Messiah say? That he's not of this world. In what sense? That this world has a different idea and a different ideology, a different God, a different science. So then, and those that follow him also are not of this world. Because this world goes in one direction, we go in a different one. because they're not of the world, as I also am not of the world. I pray not that thou shouldest take them out of the world, because you cannot take them out. I pray not that you shouldest take them out of the world, but that you should keep them from evil. That's the only thing we can do. That we don't receive so much evil to keep us from evil. It's not the correct expression, because I receive evil every day, and you a lot of evil. And if you make a mistake, you'll receive even more evil. Evil is daily. It is just a certain evil per day. Good thing. We receive our daily quote of evil. Give us today our daily evil. And he does that. So then, it's not that he takes us away from evil, but they take all the evil that he could give us, he reduces it. It's a good thing that he reduces. That's what he's saying. Because he cannot take evil away. We're going to receive evil. He says that you keep them from evil. Don't give them so much evil. They're not of the world. Also, I am not of the world. Sanctify them in thy truth. There it is. Nobody understands that. You understand it. What does sanctify mean? To take them apart. He says, because the Holy One is the one that is set apart. Not the Holy One of, like that, no. The one that is set apart. Set them apart in thy truth, or with thy truth. Thy word is truth. As thou hast sent me in the world, even so have I also sent them into the world. And for their sakes I sanctify myself, the Messiah says. Because of them, I set myself apart, because if it weren't for them, I'll just live my own life and let them all live and let them all fuck off. No, Messiah says, no, I'll talk to them. Even if they're Mexican, I'll talk to them harshly, and if they're Guatemalans, I'll speak to them harshly. And if they're from whatever nationality they are, I'll speak to them harshly. If they want to, if they wish to hear my words. Who can resist or withstand the words? That's the same thing. Yahweh sent Elijah unto the world. Just like you sent me into the world, so have I sent them into the world. Of course, exactly. I am in the world. You're also in the world. And now you have to take it. You have to take it. Do we all believe contrary to the world? Yes. We all believe contrary to the world. Yes. And by them, I set myself apart, that they be set apart in the truth. This is magnificent. Absolutely magnificent. In this prayer that someday we'll study, that won't be today, it's magnificent. Because the Messiah is saying, I set myself apart because of you. I set apart this time to speak because of you. That through my words you be sanctified. And you are sanctified through my word. Simple as that. Whether you want to believe or explode, if you want to believe, then believe. If you don't want to believe, then don't believe. But the Messiah sanctifies through the word of what they believe, of those that believe. So then, how do we handle this? There's no way for us to do anything else. We have to withstand it. We have to take it. It is a life that changes. There are things that you will experience that sometimes you would enjoy, and now you no longer enjoy them, because in the end of it all, there are things that would make you have fun, but haven't understood what you understand. They no longer make you have fun. Try to look for things that make you have fun to diverge the mind. It's the only thing that we can do, because we have a truth, and the truth sanctifies you. And you now have to understand what it is, what it means to be sanctified. It means to be set apart. That is why the Messiah, once he sanctifies you, doesn't make you happy. He sets you apart from your family, your friends, your society, your country even. Because the Messiah doesn't want you to be proudly Mexican ever. Wants to take that away from you. Doesn't want you to be proudly Chilean or Brazilian or Guatemalan. No. The Messiah tells you what you have to be. Those who want. Those who don't want, that's fine. But he sets you apart. He sets you apart with the words. He'll set you apart. So then, can we do anything else? No. We can't do anything else. What does it mean to be sanctified? You have to feel that sensation, a sensation of insatisfaction, because you see yourself as a toad from a different pond. But he says, I know that they don't belong to this society and in the way of thinking, but I cannot take him out of here. Can't take him out. But a kingdom cometh, and it continues, the glory cometh. That when he says that when I, the Father, ask you that you give me the glory that I've had, that I can give them the glory to them. That's what's coming. That is what's coming. Now you have to take it. No one has glory right now. They were seeing this representation without glory. They were seeing a guy without glory that had so little glory that they told him, shows the Father, because with you it's not enough. He says, oh, but I am, no, not you. He says, shows the Father and it's enough. Didn't have glory, but the guy says, I am the glory. Now, I cannot give it to you. You're not seeing it. But someday I'll give it to you. And the glory that I've had with Yahweh, I will transfer it unto you, that you be one with us. And not just, in the prayer, it says, not just am I speaking this unto you, but unto those that shall come after you. And who are they that shall come after you? The entire world. Just like that, the entire world. So then, today is the opportunity of understanding these words. Today is the opportunity of understanding everything that I've just explained, and to deal with it, to take it. Are we depressed? Look for something else. Watch. Diverts the mind. Watch football. Follow Boca, even if it depresses us when they lose. Follow Argentina, even if they steal from us. Played against the Wild Asses that stole us 2 hours, and they said, oh no, but it was out of position. Where was the out of position? No, there is a little bit in a cartoon. I mean, don't fuck with me like that. I mean, that Mascherano, I'm so angry with that Argentinian coach, Mascherano. He should have said, look, if you leave here, then it ends. Because the Argentinian selection gets out of this and doesn't come back in 2 hours to play cold against these Wild Asses. In the moment in which 2 hours later they say, you know what, that goal they scored, it wasn't good. Because here we have the cartoon that he was ahead of it. Oh yeah, he should have said, if I were there, oh, I would have loved that to have been. Oh yeah, it's no good. Okay. Immediately, the highest hierarchy selection of all history of football gets out of this dog shit tourney, dog shit Olympic Games. These Frenchmen, sons of 1,000 bitches, dog shit, and the dog shit Wild Asses. But I'll sue you that in your life you'll never even see it come. In the top of the invasion was of the Wild Asses. There was a group of Wild Asses that were out of place running through the field, and to top it off, they want us to play the game once again? No. You know how to fix this? Quickly bring me the director of the Olympic Games and says, these selection of Wild Asses, they're so wild that they cannot play this game. Take the points away and then let them play in the Olympic Games ever again, which is supposedly the most fair games there is. But what was the justice for Argentina, the group, the country that has the more hierarchy in the world? With a little cartoon, they show him a little bit out of place. They say, oh, he was out of place. The goal is no good. We annul it. And if you want, play for 3 minutes. You're cold. And if you're brave, and if you get injured, even better. Because we, the French sons of bitches that are no good for anything, we want to be champions. And when you show up, you ruin our dreams. And we have nightmares still, because not even with the player facing we can't even score the goal. We don't want you to be champions. We want to be the champions of the Olympic Games in France. So then the game you lost with the Wild Asses. That should have been solved right there. Instead of Mancherano, I would not get out of there and do such a chaos. Even though either we all go into jail, but Argentina will not play again. You know what? That it would be if the Albi Celeste would get rid of this dog shit, get out of this dog shit country. They're the world champions. How embarrassing! Who wants to play against these wild asses? They don't even know how to act. I mean, don't even mention it. Don't even mention it. I've told you this whole story so that you have a little fun, in case you were kind of bored, so that you get your hopes up, and so that you do something if you feel bored. If you feel bored, then listen to a subject of this guy that sanctifies you, that is so great, or follow his advice. The whole world has to learn the Argentinian anthem once and for all. Stop fucking around. Stop fucking around. The whole world. You have to know it by memory. The national anthem, you have no other anthem than that. Just like that, you have no other anthem. You want to be sanctified, set apart, start with that. You have no other anthem. You have to say that one hymn of your country has to be. What is your hymn? Hear, O mortals, that sacred shout, liberty, liberty, liberty. All of you, learn it, not just by memory, but listen to it until your skin, you get goosebumps, and when you listen to it in public, you have to stand up. Don't put your hand here, not here. That is of Indians, the Indian way. Being an Indian, you put your hand here in the heart. Not that. You stand up, and you have to learn. You want an identity, you have to feel a people, actually. And when we talk about Argentina, I want to talk about this new Argentina. Not the one that, this new Argentina. The Argentina that's called the eternal truth. Psalm 78:2, I shall open my mouth in Proverbs. I shall speak hidden things from times of old. And if you wish to be sanctified, then listen to the words of my mouth. And if you want to have life, and life in abundance, if you want to stay alive and not stop, and not end up in the lake of fire, then stay united to the vine. I am the true vine. The eternal truth is the vine, the true vine. The destiny is written, the end is inevitable. Our Father that art in heaven, we give you thanks because you are the husbandman, the owner, the creator, the only one there is. And you also cause the vine to speak, that through his words, they stay alive. They stay active, and to start to understand justice and not be taken into the lake of fire, that they be sanctified by the word of the Mashiach. All that you have left it written, that it is clearly understood. Sanctify them in your word. Your word is truth. Thank you for everything that you make us understand in the scriptures, and we hope that soon, you give us the glory that you have promised. In your precious name, Yahweh Sabaoth, Alleluia. Semper Fi. Let the laurels be eternal, that we knew how to achieve, crowned with glory, let us live. And I'll say something else, so you understand and start to be sanctified truly. Let us read the phrases of the hymn of the flag of the Argentinian Republic, which I believe it's called Aurora, whatever. Or else the hymn unto the flag. Aurora, I think, right? Let's look at the lyrics. You'll see how beautiful. And then afterwards, as homework, you all go and listen to it. Look for Aurora and listen to it. I'm looking it up. Here it is. Aurora. It's called Aurora You'll listen to it in YouTube later. There are many different versions. Listen to all of them until you learn it. Because this is your flag. High in the sky, a warrior eagle. We used to sing it every day. I'm not going to sing it to you because my voice is designed to speak and not to sing. High in the sky, a warrior eagle. Daring, it elevates itself in a triumphant flight. Blue, a wing, the color of the sky. Blue, a wing, the color of the sea. Thus, in the high, radiant aurora, as an arrowhead, imitates the golden face and forms a trail to the purple neck. The wing is cloth. The eagle is flag. It is the flag of my country, from the sun born that God has given me. It is the flag of my country, from the son born that God has given me. It is the flag of my country, from the son born that God has given me. Spectacular. Without any further words, no other words, no one in all history, of all the nations, of all the earth, of all the times, of all the empires, has had a most beautiful flag than the Argentinian flag, and a song more beautiful than the one that I've just read. It is the flag of my country, born of the sun that God has given me. Who gave it to us? God did. Magnificent. I can imagine. It is clear that this lyrics comes from the mind of Yahweh. But of course, let the laurels be eternal that we knew how to achieve. Crowned with glory, let us live. Long live the Argentine bride of Yahweh. Hallelujah to every one of you. We shall meet again next Shabbat, the day of my birthday. Hallelujah.